Great. So this video is going to walk through the most up-to-date thinking of Bill and team related to how to operationalize some of the high-level thinking in the TIP recommendations. So what we've already gone through in today's meeting is we talked about how TIP really made some recommendations around board functioning and some board structure, moving from compliance to true decision-making and engagement. And this chart, I feel, really embodies where the board roles can go to really live out that vision. So this is something that Bill created in response to the TIP recommendations. And what he's really saying here is, let's look at segmenting the roles and responsibilities. And Bill, feel free to chime in after, if I'm in any way leaving anything out. But the board really should be that high level strategy, that force of strategy. They're crafting the vision, the mission, the success statement. They're really, that visionary strategy element. And so they're making decisions about strategy. WIOA partners, and this is what I really love so much about what Bill has been saying, which is the WIOA partners need to be baked in right into the mix around how board operations, what we call the wireframe, works. So they would need to help develop plans to achieve strategic missions, help apply resources, help provide intelligence to strategic level, help execute combined efforts to achieve missions, and request resources. So WIOA and the subcommittees will be like integrated and working closely on kind of operational strategic planning and really providing, you see those arrows, providing feedback upwards and really informing the tactics. And Bill's also shared, like, this is what the staff does. The staff is really going to help usher in the day-to-day work that really drives towards mission accomplishment. And the staff is going to help also see that arrow going up. They're going to help inform, there needs to be a shift here in our strategic thinking or in our resource allocation. So they're providing that human intelligence on the ground that also goes back up and informs operations and strategy. So, this in many ways kind of, is a framework for what we sort of translated into, quote, the operational wireframe. So what everyone's kind of, where the information flows and how decisions get made. So one, the board sets the vision and the high level strategic objectives. And subcommittees work with WIOA leadership team to develop plans and monitor progress and take action. And then staff supports the planning process and provides feedback on plans. The board then approves and authorizes those strategic plans and those key decisions, and they provide high level accountability. They keep all the trains kind of moving through holding that space for accountability. WIOA partners then take action based on what's been approved, and staff and the subcommittee leaders monitor that progress and support with problem solving as needed. Subcommittees keep the board up to date with progress. And you're kind of hearing rumblings of a big shift in what we see for future executive meetings, which will really allow the subcommittees to be engaged in those meetings and the subcommittees to share out really effectively with the executive committee about progress. So this is the operational wireframe. Moving on, subcommittees, as you can see, are an extremely important element that Gary and Bill have spent quite some time thinking through. And these are the subcommittees that they have identified are the most responsive to and equipped to execute on much of what TIP is saying. So obviously an executive committee that manages the reorganization deliverables, that approves the committee structures, that is responsible for board governance tasks, the use of blue collar funds, so decision-making executive team. There's a strategic planning subcommittee. So they're going to work really closely with board members and community members and service providers to really develop that 3-year plan, including timelines and quantifiable outcomes. They're going to be helping to communicate plans with constituencies and closely tracking and reporting on the implementation of plans. And they'll, of course, advocate for resources as needed. Important to note, right? They don't have to do this on their own. And in fact, this year, one of the things that social contract is supporting with is in the facilitation of some of this process. So staff, Bill's team, Bill's staff and social contract will work within each of these subcommittees to really help with each of these deliverables. So don't worry, you're not all on your own. You'll see youth and adult dislocated workers. In some of the deliverables there, absorbing pieces of the proposal review, certification, performance measures, and finance. So you'll see how they're rewiring some of what was in other places, and now they're kind of finding their way into these new subcommittees. They lead strategic thinking on investments for all related programs, including operating principles and the directions for the budget and RFP development. They closely monitor program ROI and data to make informed decisions, and they engage in dialogue with service providers and make recommendations for improvements and advocate where needed. You'll see for their respective constituencies, youth and adult dislocated workers have similar bullet points underneath them. And then, as Gary mentioned earlier, employer engagement is a really important subcommittee to help really oversee the relationship with industry councils, the emergence of the system level employer engagement shift to having industry councils, maintaining ongoing communications with key industry sectors, developing communications and marketing plans, tracking and improving on ongoing new placements and retention. And as Bill said earlier, really seeing how we can implement a centralized case management, long-term support for placements. So this employer engagement committee is going to be a huge support and game changer in terms of how we relate to employers. So on the lower right-hand corner in blue, you'll see some key thoughts here from Gary and Bill. Board meetings will include time for committee breakouts. This is going to be the big shift. Committees are expected to meet outside of regularly scheduled board meetings. And as we talked a little bit about that earlier today, between now and October, we'd like to engage those subcommittees to help in preparation for October, really form norm storm and build some real solid foundation, and then revisit that in October. Maybe we can go back to bi-monthly, but we'll make that decision with more knowledge. Full board meetings, right, will be every other month. So that's why we're saying July and then the September meeting. Staff and consultant support will be assigned to each subcommittee. So again, you are not alone. We will be helping to facilitate work getting done, project management getting done between meetings. And that is what our team is here to do alongside of Bill's incredible team. So what we will do is follow up with this deck so you can look through some of the finer details. You can see here listed out the details that Bill and Gary have put together, and they're really looking for your feedback. So the survey that's corresponding with this video that you're seeing right now is going to ask you for your feedback on what it is you think these subcommittees really should be doing. So we'll provide this information and ask for your input. We will also ask for your input on, sorry, I'm just seeing the chat, on nominations, which ones you want to be a part of, which ones you want to nominate people to be a part of. So we really want everyone's eyes on optimal decision-making for who really populates these subcommittees. And then, as we mentioned earlier, again, you're not alone. Social Contract is here to support, and we're very, very honored and excited to partner through this really important transition. The Workforce Development Board is an incredible, team and group of real leaders in the state who have been doing incredible work, and we just feel honored to be able to come alongside and support with this shift. And again, honoring the great leadership that it takes to really hold recommendations like Tip offered and really take it by the horns and really, shift gears together. So really excited to partner and help with the launch of these subcommittees and the support of developing clear roles and the new onboarding process that we talked about, really helping with board repopulation, the board matrix, and in general, just being a support for effective facilitation in these group environments. As you'll see, a huge thing that Social Contract is definitely going to keep as a top priority that Bill and Gary have really emphasized is the importance of integrating WEO leadership team and partner involvement every step of the way throughout these subcommittees and in decision-making processes. Just as a reminder, what's next? We're going to look at approving the subcommittee structure. We're going to be really reviewing your data from the survey to identify subcommittee leaders. Social contract is going to help train those subcommittee leaders. And then we're going to meet in those initial subcommittees together in July within the new meeting structure. That is, as of yet, the hope and our ideal is to meet in those subcommittees for the first time. I'm going to pause there. Bill, anything I missed? Okay. For those of you who are still here, does anyone have any further questions for me at this time? Okay. Well, I hope this was informative and giving you a little bit of a primer on what these subcommittees, what the current state of thinking are in the subcommittees. Again, we're really excited for your feedback, your insight, to incorporate that feedback and get to a really solid July meeting. Thanks so much.